Hey, with every day that passes, we get closer and closer to the next update that is coming to Soulstone Survivors, and we are very excited to share with you a little more of what you can expect from what will be, by far, the biggest update the game has ever seen. I'm Adwan from Gamesmithing, and I'll be walking us through some of these changes, and let me tell you, we could call this update Soulstone Survivors 2 based on everything it changes and improves, and we hope you are as excited as we are to dive into some of these changes. Let's start with the Monkey King, the new character being added to the game as shown in our previous videos. In addition to 11 new exclusive skills, his skill tree, 3 new runes, and his ascension, the Monkey King is also introducing the first new skill type added to the game, Earth, which focuses on big areas of effect attacks and defensive bonuses. On top of those, 39 brand new skills are also coming that can be used with various other characters, topping 50 new skills in total. But that's not all the changes coming to the skills. Almost all of our existing 250 skills are getting changes to both balance and their effects, and almost all of our existing skill types, such as Fire, Arcane, Holy, and etc., are having their core essences changed. Let me give you a few examples. Fire type skills will still hold hands with the burn status, but Arcane type skills, for example, instead of applying Exposed, will now infuse you with Radiance. And with enough power, you can literally throw a Kamehameha at your enemies. How cool is that? And there are much more of these buff effects that can accumulate on your character that give you bonuses, such as Prowess, for example, or the new Resilience buff. Linked to those new effects come a whole new system of stackable buffs that you and your summons can have. You gain these from various sources, such as casting skills and certain power-ups, and they can go from simple stat changes such as increasing your multicast chance, movement speed, and so on, to special effects such as Ammunition, which is exclusive to the Blast type. In this case, when you collect a certain amount of ammunition, you drastically increase the multicast charges of the next skill you use, allowing for some very interesting combos. There are also a bunch of new power-ups coming to the game, which are intended to provide variety and incentivize different builds that were not possible before, such as skill chains, Doom and Crit, Power vs Far Away, and much more. This update will also bring huge changes to the current pace of the game. Soulstone Survivors is supposed to be a challenging game that pushes you to come up with crazy new builds and combos. However, as was often mentioned by the community of the game, the challenge today becomes an annoyance, being way too intense, too hectic, or was often described as too much of a dodge fest. With that in mind, we're introducing a few key changes. We're changing the difficulty scaling of enemies, with and without curses, and including endless modes. There's now a limit to the attack speed and movement speed of enemies, preventing attacks from becoming impossible to dodge in deep, endless runs. Alongside this, we're also getting rid of a few curses, such as Revenge of the Void, which has a chance of spawning meteors whenever you kill an enemy, Pillars of Despair, which casts spells at you until destroyed, and Unholy Reinforcements, which increases considerably the frequency of elite enemies. New curses will take their places instead, ensuring the game is still challenging, but with less focus on pure reaction time. The in-game objectives are also changing. They will now begin counting from the moment the objective is active, meaning that it will be impossible to accumulate 2 groups of bosses at the same time. This seemingly small change creates a breathing space between boss fights and allows you to prepare for the next challenge. Speaking of bosses, you will now face them differently to how they work now. The Lords of the Void are now summoned from statues, breaking free when infused with chaotic energy. If you are playing with curses active, where multiple lords would appear at once, they will now break free from their stony prison one at a time. However, they might still invoke their fallen brethren to assist them in battle. All of these changes combined reduce the amount of area attacks we have to dodge considerably while keeping the gameplay challenging. If we were to mention every last change coming to the game in this video, we would be here for hours, but we hope this video gets you just as excited as we are to get this update out into your hands. We hope you are having a lovely day, and into the next one.